think sometimes that's a defense mechanism.
It is.
And that's a defense. So they don't have to face their peers, their families, or themselves. I mean, again, like you said, like Rich said earlier, we all deal with our issues, etc. And we all need that support system. But I think, I'll say we as people sometimes can put our own insecurities on our peers and families and those around us.
And I think,
a lot of people don't like to face the facts, the truth. And it's hard. I mean, I've been hard-headed in my 20s, and I was a wild boy. To this day, I'm still working as a person, as a man, become a better person as a man, a friend, and, family member. But I've also learned to face everything head on. Yeah. Where I figure it's going to make me better, or it's going to make me struggle. And it sucks sometimes. The shit hurts, but I got a good support system in Rich and Corey, and then some. But yeah, I just think people hide around their insecurities of what people think, or they let their friends dictate what they should say or how they should live, which they try to keep up with the Joneses, or they're embarrassed.
Yeah, and that's. I think that points out something else, like criticism and pointing out certain issues have a different amount of weight depending on who it's coming from, right? So if you're Rich were to tell me something's wrong with me, or y'all would have asked me if something was wrong with me, I'm going to assume you asking because you have observed something that makes you think something is wrong with me. So with that being said, like, that's a big difference opposed to somebody whose opinion you might not value as much telling you something. And that don't necessarily mean that they're wrong, but at the moment that they tell you, I mean, even me, I'm probably going to be like, who are you to say that? Like, you don't know me, Opposed to Richard Trey saying it, or my parents saying it, or my brother saying it, or anybody that's known me a long time saying it. I'm like, all right, well, you got a lot more context than somebody that doesn't know me. But the fact of the matter is, and I had to get to the point where I just started doing it automatically. Whether I think it's bull or not, I gotta at least give it that 1 minute to consider the fact that you may be right. I could evaluate it and dismiss it, but you are still an outside perspective. And I'm gonna let that bias that I have toward myself usually overwhelm what other people say, and I shouldn't, because everybody like to view themselves in a positive light, and that's just not necessarily the case all the time. I mean, of course, I might think highly of myself, or I might be more critical of myself, but at the end of the day, like 9 times out of 10, I can be more wrong about myself than anybody, because I'm viewing it from one perspective, mine, and that's it, and that's just not always right.
I also think to make progress in the identification, of mental health deficiencies and, potential dangers, we almost have to overcome and let go of some of these narratives that have been very true at some points, but might not hold the same weight now. So, for example, the stigmatization of mental health, where there was a time that, mental health, if someone determines that you have like a mental health problem, then all of a sudden you'd be institutionalized and locked away. I don't necessarily think that still holds true today. But I think that institutions and organizations try to hold on to that just to push an agenda. And I think until we get past that, we're not going to really get to the real meat of the matter. For example, Kanye and Roseanne. Mental health problems are thrown out when it comes to those two. Like it's just like matter of fact. Like that excuses their behavior.
They label themselves. Also.
Yeah, they label themselves that exactly. Like they freely label themselves with mental health problems. in the case of Roseanne, I don't know a mental health disorder that makes you racist.
Well, it's funny you even phrase it like that.
Or Ambien.
Or medication.
I mean, because the funny thing about that is, even by the way it's phrased, and let's strip away all the bias. Let's strip away the fact that she said and did things that were completely racist. If you are self-conscious and aware enough to label yourself with a mental illness, then you should be able to understand when you are racist. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is matter of fact. Like if you can comprehend mental illness and that something may be wrong with you, you can comprehend racism. Same thing for Kanye. I mean,
slavery is a choice. It's not a
simply
saying things like that. It's not symptomatic.
And I mean, we done already talked about this on previous episodes. So I mean, for full context, reference those. But at the same time, if that's how you truly feel, then you got 365 days a year to voice it, opposed to a couple of weeks before your album drop.
Yes. You say nothing all year.
So I mean, that just looks suspect. But at the same time, like, true mental health, I hate when people label themselves as having mental health issues, because I feel like it takes away from those that actually have mental health issues. Mm-hmm. And the people that actually have them usually don't label themselves as having
because
mental health
issues. Because they don't want to be labeled.
Yeah, exactly. We find out after the fact that they had mental health issues after they've taken their own lives or something traumatic has happened. They didn't come forward and say, oh, I have mental health issues. People that want an excuse for their actions or want society to accept the narrative that something may be wrong with them to make what they do and say okay, those are the people that label themselves as having a mental health issues, not people that actually have mental health issues. And they're truly taken away from a serious issue.
Or it's assigned to them when they commit grisly murderous acts, or like shooting up a school.
Yeah. But you know what? On that side of things, that's political.
Yeah,
that is very political.
Because there is something else underlying.
Yeah, exactly. Because none of those people actually label themselves as having a mental health issues. It is the media and the government and everybody else that label them as having mental health issues when they not once came forward and said they have mental health issues. They may have seek counseling at some point. They may have done a number of other things, and if they had mental health issues, fine. But mental health issues still to this day is an excuse for taking the lives of 5, 10, dozens of people, and all of a sudden it's I won't say socially acceptable, but there's supposed to be a certain amount of leniency toward it because you have mental health issues. That's unacceptable.
But the white kids that shot up Sandy Hook or shot up the church in Charleston, it was discussed that that's got to be a mental health issue, not gun violence. But with the DC snipers,
I thought they was white.
I thought they were too.
I did. I thought they was white.
But when they were identified, there was never any discussion about them being mentally ill.
I was salty, dude.
It was terrorism.
And you know what?
That conflates the issue.
I mean, it does. Even more so to me, simply because, let's just take the DC sniper, for example. Ex-Marine, combat veterans. Mm-hmm. That could very easily be some PTSD issues going on there. On top of that, it wasn't like these men were out asking for ransom at first or doing anything at first. They were just running around shooting people.
And one's a young man that's indoctrinated by his stepdad.
Exactly. But my point on top of that is, you know what this man has been trained to do?
Kill.
Shoot. Exactly. Shoot people.
And that could
shoot people.
And that could be mental illness to your point.
Exactly. To my point.
But no one gives him that.
Which one? You talking about the man or the boy?
The man.
The man.
Okay.
He's the one that he served.
He'd be like years in.
But they never. There was never discussed that. Hey, mate, he's struggling from PTSD.
And that's never going to be a discussion, though. Mm-hmm. That's never going to be a discussion.
Whereas a kid that's never that PTSD wouldn't even be brought up in the conversation because it doesn't serve any time.
You know what's funny though, when you say the kid and PTSD, that I learned at an early age that PTSD don't necessarily mean military.
And not at all. It's not. It wasn't originated for the military. It wasn't even assigned to the military. It's not a military term.
Well, that's the first time I heard it.
Yeah.
I won't go deep into why I'm saying that, but just a personal.
There are benefits of the doubts, though, that are there are allowances that are given to people such as the white guys, such as Charleston Shooter, Columbine, Sandy Hook, that are not afforded to other people, because to say that, because if you take away the fact that if you take away that it probably is not involving mental health, then you have to admit that, hey, maybe we do have a gun problem, or maybe we do have evil people.
Yeah. And
for a nation or a group of people to face the idea that evil is sometimes, indescribable and real, there's nowhere to go from there.
I mean, it really isn't. I mean, when you look at it too, America as a whole is a business. Gun lobbyists are huge. The NRA is enormous. We can argue all day about the right to bear arms, but it was written at a time where, honestly, the right to bear arms were beneficial.
Yeah.
And I've said this on previous episodes. Everybody that know me, I got a Class 3 firearms license. I can own whatever the hell I feel like, basically. Do I actually need some of the stuff I have? I won't say that. I can honestly say no, I don't need some of the weapons that I have. But I feel like, especially from living in other countries where like there was no chance I would be able to own the stuff that I have now, I can still say I honestly felt safer. Why? Because I also knew nobody else, not even the criminals, had it. Because the laws were that strict. But one of the main reasons I own what I own is because I know that there are other people out there that own what I own, and I would at least like be able to match force opposed to be overwhelmed. But
I think that's more to do with defending yourself against like your fellow man. But in the spirit of the amendment is about, if the government wants to attack and you want to defend yourself. In actuality, if the government chose to attack,
no chance. You're not defending yourself.
You got nothing in your house.
You're not defending yourself against
in your basement, in your shelter.
No.
That would do anything.
No.
So let's divorce ourselves from this idea that we're trying to protect ourselves from tyranny, because that's not the case.
And I don't need 30 rounds of 5.56 to hunt deer. So
yeah, my neighbor. I don't want my neighbor having damn grenades and automatic weapons, because that's not self-defense.
Yeah,
you can't. You're not defending yourself with suppressors.
Well, first of all, we, us, we can't defend ourselves against the government.
We can't.
So what Corey said, what's those numbers again? Of that bullet?
Oh, 5.56.
And what'd you say? You can't defend yourself against?
You said the government.
The government, a suppressor. You can't do anything. We can't stop a tank.
So, and I'm gonna add technology. You gonna lose.
Yeah, the technical warfare, whatever would need. Like we don't have. You don't have the manpower. You don't have the intelligence. You just don't have the resources.
So it's basically the mental, the physical.
There's no chance.
Technical, like you're gonna lose.
And you know why? Because we voted them to have that. We allowed the government to have that.
Yeah. I mean, but
with that, you get things in return. It's an exchange.
Yeah, but I think on top of that, and it's becoming an epidemic of its own, is that with the amount of firepower and overall technology that the government has at this point, they've also passed that down to law enforcement. So we have militarized local law enforcement to the point where they got APCs.
We allow them to be militarized because we want to be safe.
Yeah, that's armored personnel carriers. So basically, a local law enforcement unit, SWAT team, can roll in to your neighborhood with the equivalent of what a military infantry platoon would have, and it shuts you down at any point. And they're gonna have I mean, I hate to throw out all these numbers that people don't know, but still, I mean, they're gonna have